Welcome to the channel and welcome to today's run through of all the latest Manchester United news and transfer updates, keeping you right up to date with everything. I'm Jamie. Before we get into it, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Got absolutely loads to go through today. Reports from Portugal that Gyökeres has rejected Manchester United. We've got all the Mbeumo latest with talks of a bid from Spurs. What's going on there? Some alternatives, a new wing-back option, loads to get into. So let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with the breaking news that's come out this morning regarding none other than Viktor Gyökeres. So Florian Plettenberg has said that Sporting have given Viktor Gyökeres the assurance that he will be allowed to leave in the summer for 60 to 70 million euros, as exclusively revealed in October 2024 and now confirmed by his agent. So if you watched yesterday's video, I wonder if it's something linked with the reports that his agent had actual documentation that confirmed that the gentleman's agreement was binding. Whether there's something to do with that, who knows? A Bola, though, Portuguese outlet, have said that the agent has a mandate sale and Sporting will have to pay 10% of the value of a rejected bid if it exceeds 60 million euros. If this clause is activated, Sporting will demand the full value of the release clause. So there's something in the contract with Viktor Gyökeres where if a team pay or make a bid of 60 million euros or more and Sporting reject it, the agent then gets 10% of the value, in which case if they activate that part of the clause, Sporting will demand 100 million euros. That's the way I interpret that. That's some kind of weird clause that's in the contract, whereas if they reject offers, then the agent can trigger another clause, which means Sporting then have to give them some of the sale. What a weird situation, but we'll need to wait and see on that one. It's just been a bit of a drama, isn't it, between Sporting and Gyökeres with this whole gentleman's agreement, but let's see how it plays out. Now, Record this morning, though, have come out saying that Arsenal have made an opening bid of £46.8 million with a possible £8.5 million in add-ons to Sporting for Manchester United target Viktor Gyökeres, and that Viktor Gyökeres has said no to Manchester United. The player's entourage have officially informed United they are no longer an option for the forward. So according to Record coming out this morning, Viktor Gyökeres has said no to Manchester United, as players' entourage have officially informed United of that, and also submitted a bid to Sporting for £46.8 million with £8.5 million in add-ons, which is alarming, concerning, all of those things. However, it's yet to be backed up by somebody of any credibility. I'm still waiting at the time of recording this video for a Romano, an Ornstein, a Ben Jacobs, a Laurie Whitwell, somebody of a little bit more credibility than Portuguese reports confirming or denying that story. In fact, what Romano has said is that Manchester United keeps calling for Viktor Gyökeres to be informed about the situation. He did, though, say that Arsenal also remain in active contact, waiting for Sporting to clarify his exit. And he did say, though, however, in his video, just to be clear, to not rule Arsenal out of the equation, but he didn't say anything about any official bids or Gyökeres' decision had been made to reject Manchester United. So I'm waiting for a little bit more credibility before getting too upset or whatever regarding the situation. I'd want to see way more credibility than reports from Portugal, because these are the same reports where recently they've been saying that Arsenal have made a bid, they haven't made a bid. You know, it's been a little bit like a lot of the news regarding Gyökeres has been mainly driven from the Portuguese side. Romano has been saying that United are in constant contact with talks, constant contact with the agent, and the same with Arsenal as well. So I don't know if we're at that stage where a decision has been made. Ben Jacobs, if you remember the video did a couple of days ago, said he's not going to make a decision until he finishes his holiday. And then you've got the whole shenanigans of what's going on with the gentleman's agreement with Sporting and stuff. So we're going to need to wait and see how this one plays out. But it is a little bit alarming to hear from Record or from reports saying that he has officially told United that he's not going to want to go there. But I'd want to see way more credibility personally regarding that situation, because, you know, it's Portuguese media and sometimes they are Billy bullshitters and sometimes they are clickbait and they'll do things for clicks, and then but we'll need to wait and see. Keep an eye on it. Let me know your thoughts though in the comments. Are you worried? Are you not worried? Are you like me? You want to wait to see a bit more credibility? Obviously, I'll bring you any updates if they come out. But as it stands at this moment, going off the recent reports, Gyökeres has rejected United and Arsenal have made an official bid for him, but that's not yet been confirmed by anybody other than Record in Portugal. But give us your shouts on that in the comments below. Now let's go through some other news. So obviously the main topic of conversation yesterday was Mbeumo, with reports that Tottenham were potentially looking to hijack the deal. So let's go through all the latest there, because there's been an explosion of news regarding that. So the Mirror was saying that Tottenham have launched a £70 million bid to hijack Manchester United's move for Bryan Mbeumo. Spurs' offer is worth £65 million plus £5 million in add-ons, £10 million more than United's. And they also said despite Tottenham bidding a £70 million package for Bryan Mbeumo, the player is still leaning towards signing for Manchester United. However, Thomas Frank believes he can persuade him to sign for Spurs. Now that came from a journalist in the Mirror. No other source or anybody, though, has said anything about Tottenham making an official bid for Bryan Mbeumo, because I think if they had made an official bid, like David Ornstein was the one that broke the story about Mbeumo choosing Manchester United about anyone else, and he's not said anything about any official bids for Bryan Mbeumo from Tottenham, which leads me to believe that that story is bullshit. That's because I'd want to see way more credibility. Romano, Ornstein, these sort of characters would be normally well ahead of the game when it comes to offers and transfers, or they'll come out and confirm or deny things if they're true. And there's been radio silence regarding an official bid, so I'm going to file that in the BS bin for now. Sky Sports Seth was saying that Bryan Mbeumo is still leaning towards Manchester United, who are expected to go back in with a fresh offer. Sammy McCoble from the BBC says Spurs are yet to submit a bid for Bryan Mbeumo, and there has been further interest in him from other UEFA Champions League clubs. Sean Connolly is a good source, said that Manchester United want Bryan Mbeumo and vice versa. The second and more comprehensive bid will be placed soon for Mbeumo, especially because of Spurs' interest. Man United want their primary target signed as quickly as possible. So Sean Connolly's still saying that United want Mbeumo and Mbeumo wants United, and that's the kind of key. That's the key regarding the transfer. Ben Jacobs said Bryan Mbeumo's preferred option is still Manchester United. A lot will depend on whether United meet the valuation. Spurs are prepared to better the rejected 45 plus £10 million offer if given encouragement. Graham Bailey said that Manchester United are confident of winning the race to sign Bryan Mbeumo despite interest from Tottenham. However, there is clearly a belief at Spurs that they can get him, with some in football thinking Mbeumo might prefer to stay in London. Has he not already rejected Arsenal and Tottenham before the Thomas Frank situation, though? So I would say take that one with a pinch of salt. Rudy Galletti said that Spurs and Thomas Frank have made a move for Bryan Mbeumo, but he does not consider joining Spurs. And Mbeumo remains fully committed to the verbal pact with Manchester United and is prepared to wait for the club talks to progress. So a lot going on there, a lot of mischief making, I think, a lot of speculation, a lot of media talk regarding Bryan Mbeumo. Reading between the lines, I think the interest from Spurs is genuine. I think they are interested. I think they were interested. They probably will be interested in Bryan Mbeumo. But the main thing to take away from there is that Mbeumo still wants to come to United. The reason we're ahead in this race is because he's already chosen. We've got a verbal agreement with Mbeumo. We've already agreed a contract or personal terms with Mbeumo, and we are just in negotiations at the moment with Brentford, and Brentford are playing a game, I think, of trying to get more money out of United, and that's maybe where these stories are coming from, a little bit of mischief making to try and get United a bid more, because they want £60 million in cash, so a £60 million upfront fee plus add-ons for Mbeumo. United don't want to pay £60 million as the upfront fee. They want to pay around 50, maybe 55 with the rest in add-ons. And I think this is a bit of gamesmanship going on between Brentford and United, or the media and whoever. The main thing is Mbeumo still wants to come to United. We're still in that negotiation. I think if it got to the point though where United decided they're not to walk away from the deal. So if Brentford do start, standing firm or are not willing to negotiate the fee, then maybe United do walk away, and then in which case maybe Spurs is an option for Mbeumo. Maybe Arsenal might come back in, Newcastle would come back in. There's plenty of interest in Mbeumo. We know there is, but the reality is he's still chosen us. All the reports are saying that he still wants to come to United, and that's the main thing that I would pay attention to regarding the whole situation. Now, if he doesn't come, we'll obviously need to look for alternatives. Caught offside, we're saying that Manchester United are monitoring Justin Kluivert at Bournemouth, as he is one of the options for attack if United decides to go for him. Leverkusen and other Premier League teams are also looking at him. Bournemouth want close to £55 million. That came from Court Offside. Court Offside have some credible journalists working for them and some not so credible journalists. This came from one of their not so credible journalists and felt a little bit clickbaity to me, where they put United's name, linking in with Justin Kluivert, and then also other teams as well to try and it just felt like a clickbait article. However, Justin Kluivert is a name that we have been linked with in the past, but not so much recently, and not from anyone with any credibility. I would say Semenyo and maybe Tyler Dibling would be the alternatives if we don't go for or don't get the Mbeumo deal over the line. But according to the reports, Mbeumo still wants to come to United, which is encouraging. So we'll wait and see how it plays out. It's transfer window, isn't it? So you're going to get all these to and fro and reports and media mischief, and maybe clubs putting stories out, agents putting stories out as well. This is where you get he's coming, he's not coming, and the deal's off, and then it's back on again. That's the excitement of the transfer window, but we need to see how it plays out. It's been a concerning couple of days because things were going quite smoothly. We were pretty much just in negotiations with Mbeumo, no issues there. It was looking likely we might then be going for Gyökeres, and then the last couple of days, everything's flipped on its head. Now the stories are Gyökeres has rejected us, and that Tottenham might have outbidded us for Mbeumo. But it's all coming from places of less credibility, I would say. So I'd want to see a lot more credibility regarding the stories. But it is alarming, it's concerning, but we just need to wait and see how it plays out. But give us your shouts on the Mbeumo and the Gyökeres situation in the comments. Now, I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but Matheus Cunha came out, did his first official interview with Manchester United. I enjoyed it. We'll run through a couple of the quotes if you haven't seen it from what he said, which I picked up on, which I found really interesting. So he said, "For me, no one else is like United. Of course, I know it's been a hard season for everyone. I think my decision shows what this club is for me and what I believe this club can be." So Matheus Cunha effectively saying, look, I know it was a shit season last season. A lot of people are surprised that I've chose to come here, but it says everything about my belief, and the reason I want to come here is because, he was saying that he grew up as a United fan, used to play football on the streets, and they'd call their little pitch Old Trafford, and he'd go around his nans and watch United games and stuff as well. So that was, I kind of liked that from Matheus Cunha. He also said there isn't a single player who comes here without thinking about United's glorious past, all the titles they've won, all the Premier League titles, the Champions League. I'm here to help the team get back to the top and conquer all those things. So again, that was quite nice words from Matheus Cunha. On Ruben Amorim, he said, I had a lot of faith in him. I hope he succeeds in conquering the world like he did it in Portugal. I'm here to help the team and help him. All our discussions made my decision easier. So he was in talk with Ruben Amorim before coming in. Quite obviously, Ruben Amorim's a nice talker, though, isn't he? I like Ruben Amorim. I think he's very honest and very, very articulate with what he wants to say as well. And then finally, he also said, I don't feel the pressure. I'm part of the biggest national team in the world where the pressure is enormous. I've learned a lot from it. I feel like coming here now is the perfect time. So I was really encouraged by Matheus Cunha's interview yesterday. Really insightful. Go check it out if you can. But give us your thoughts on those comments in the comments below. Let's move on to some other news. So Monaco have set a €30 million price tag for Vanderson. Barcelona, Man United and Tottenham have all made inquiries, interest growing ahead of a potential busy summer. Now that came from a fairly good South American journalist. He does a lot with Rudy Galletti. That's really interesting. Vanderson is actually a name that we've been linked with for a while at right wing back over a couple of years going back, if memory serves me right. Very good attacking right back, would obviously play in the right wing back position. Very good, carries, take-ons. progressive passes, good defensively as well, blocks, interceptions, tackles, shot creating actions, very, very good. Very, very good data and stats. 23 years old, 1 goal, 5 assists. Is a really interesting profile of player. And for 30 million euros, that's not a bad shout if we are looking for a wing back, because that's I think that's a good fee for somebody of his ability and his stats and data. I think that's not a bad shout to come in. I don't know if wing back though is the priority position when we need midfielder, goalkeeper, obviously the attack. We might be now looking for another striker or another number 10 if those deals don't go through. We'll wait and see on that. But yeah, I think Vanderson wouldn't be a bad shout for the right wing back position. Imagine if you didn't get Mbeumo, for example, and you get Vanderson for right wing back, and then Ahmad just plays in that 10, or Bruno plays in the 10, and then you get that money to go for a midfielder. So there are things we could do if those deals do collapse. But I'm not saying they're going to, but I'm just giving you food for thought. But give us your shouts on Vanderson in the comments. Now, a lot of the rest of our transfer window beyond the deals, as we know, will depend on exit. So let's go through the latest there. So this report came out from a journalist in the Daily Mail saying that Aston Villa's best chance to sign Marcus Rashford is through a loan, but it's challenging. Rashford dreams of joining Barcelona, while United wants to sell him permanently for around £40 million before July the 1st for PSR calculations. If Barca don't pursue Luis Diaz seriously, Rashford may be their next target. Now, there are rumours as well that Barcelona might be going for Nico Williams, and if they go for Nico Williams, would they then still want to go for Rashford? If they don't get Williams, maybe they're going for Diaz, and if they don't get Diaz, it's a mess. If Rashford's waiting for Barcelona look like they might be moving on to other targets, which leaves him in a position where what's going on with his future there? That's an absolute mess. But according to that report, Aston Villa, if they did want Rashford, their best chance would be another loan, which, it is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. So frustrating. And it's the contracts. The reason why we can't remove Rashford is because somebody gave him a £300 plus £1,000 a week contract, which was ridiculous. And that's why we're in this position where we want to sell him, but we can't because nobody's paying him that money. He doesn't, he's got a contract, doesn't have to take a pay cut. He can ride that contract out for all he wants because it's there in black and white. And it is what it is, but it's just going to be really frustrating if we can't move him on and we end up having to do a loan. It's just going to drag on, I think, the Rashford situation. But also in the report, he said that they know Ruben Amorim does not want the player, and the longer he stays at United, the stronger the potential buying club's position becomes. And I think that's right. The later on in the window, that's maybe what the teams are going to wait for, drag it right out to the end, and then hope that United accept a lower bid. Going to be what it is, isn't it? But we'll keep an eye on it for you. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can just get some of these players gone because it helps us move on. But yeah, we'll need to wait and see what happens there. So Florian Plettenberg said the move of Alejandro Garnacho to Bayern Leverkusen is currently very unlikely. The immense package of transfer fees and wages, Leverkusen are currently focused on other other options. The 20-year-old Garnacho is set to leave Manchester United in the summer. Now that's frustrating. I think reading between the lines, Bayern Leverkusen could afford the fee because they're just about to get a shit ton of money for Florian Wirtz to Liverpool. But it's the immense package of the fee and the wages, which is interesting because was there not reports that Napoli walked away in January because of the wages he was demanding? Like, what sort of wages is he asking for? That's really interesting because I'm sure if he's on the same or a little bit more maybe than what he's on now, which is about £50,000 a week at United, then surely Leverkusen could afford that. So what kind of package is he actually asking for? Because I think Leverkusen could afford the wage. But, it seems to be maybe the wages, but we need to wait and see what happens regarding that. I'm just trying to pull up because Romano said something I saw on a notification on my phone regarding Garnacho. Some movements are taking place behind the scenes with Alejandro Garnacho's agent over his exit and meeting. He is giving priority to Premier League clubs, so maybe that's why as well. Maybe he does want to stay in the Premier League. So we need to wait and see what happens. I think the teams interested in the Premier League might be Chelsea, potentially Arsenal, Villa would be another one as well, but Villa might also be interested in Jadon Sancho. So Aston Villa are interested in Jadon Sancho. Sancho was also open to the move. Now that came from Graham Bailey, suggesting that maybe Aston Villa would be interested in Sancho. I think they might be interested in Garnacho, maybe even Rashford as well. But whether they're going to be permanent deals, loans, who knows? We'll keep an eye on it for you. But yeah, it's really annoying, the exits, because we need to get some players gone and sold, but there's no real heavy links. We're heavily linked with Mbeumo. We're heavily linked with Gyökeres. There's definitely interest there. There's enough credibility around those deals for us to be, okay, well, we're definitely going for Mbeumo and possibly going for Gyökeres, because we're talking, and Romano's saying that we're in constant talks with his agents and stuff. But there's not really anything like that with the exits, which is really frustrating. But I'll bring you any updates if they come out. Give us your thoughts on that in the comments below. Give us your thoughts on all the other topics discussed in today's video. That's you all up to date with the latest news and transfer news. Smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. See you in the next one.